The Queen and Prince Philip met Archie,
they were
really,
right
really
in
quickly.
there. Right too.
And actions speak louder than words, don't they? We saw that beautiful photo, that iconic image of
picture.
the five of them actually, and it all seems a bit rushed and a bit weird.
It's not every day a shopkeeper rattles the royal establishment, but that's exactly what appears to be unfolding now, in a twist stranger than fiction. In the deafening roar of 24-hour news cycles, filtered Instagram perfection, and the relentless churn of red carpet appearances, a quiet, almost unassuming voice has broken through. It doesn't belong to a palace insider, a celebrity biographer, or a disgruntled staffer. Instead, it comes from the fringes of the entertainment industry, someone who operates a niche specialty shop known for selling hyper-realistic prosthetic baby bumps, typically used in television productions, film shoots, or even theatrical performances.
She's not a mum, and never has been. Just when the difficult Duchess wanted all the talk of her fake baby bumps to fade away, along came a so-called friend to turbocharge the conspiracy theory.
It's the kind of boutique most people don't even know exists, one that caters to professionals who need the illusion of pregnancy without the reality. Yet according to this individual, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex herself, either contacted the store directly or sent a representative from her team to request a bespoke prosthetic belly. Not a standard off-the-shelf item, but a carefully crafted, made-to-order piece, allegedly tailored to her exact body specifications. The claim is not whispered conjecture or blurry speculation. It's alarmingly detailed, involving supposed communications, custom fittings, and exact measurements. And if any portion of it holds up to scrutiny, it doesn't just spark gossip, it sets fire to the very foundation of one of the most closely watched and emotionally resonant storylines in modern royal history, Meghan's journey into motherhood.
She has quite deliberately caused doubt, and she has created mischief, knowing that it would damage the royal family.
This isn't just another tabloid recycling session or a faceless Reddit thread spinning theories from paparazzi photos. This is someone stepping forward with what they allege is first-hand involvement, suggesting not only intent but planning, an orchestrated effort to create the image of pregnancy, down to the technical accuracy of how that image would appear under scrutiny. The implications are enormous. Meghan's pregnancy with Archie wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a global spectacle, documented in headlines, public appearances, and carefully curated interviews. It was the emotional centerpiece of her transition from Hollywood actress to modern royal figure, the moment she was most humanized in the eyes of the public. To suggest that part or all of that narrative may have been artificially constructed isn't just controversial. It's radioactive. Because if Meghan did in fact commission a prosthetic bump, even for limited use, it fractures the trust that so much of her public image was built upon.
She's a bully. She's obsessed with her own ego, face on television, etc., and playing the victim. So no amount of humanizing videos, even if she managed to find one, are going to work.
It raises fundamental questions about authenticity, about control, and about the power of performance in the age of curated celebrity. And as the source's claims ripple across platforms and media outlets, they strike at a nerve deeper than scandal. They touch the sacred, intimate space of motherhood itself. Meghan Markle has always existed at the intersection of admiration and animosity, a figure who inspires fierce loyalty in some and deep skepticism in others. From the moment she entered the royal orbit, she was framed as either a modernizing force for a dusty institution or the catalyst for its internal unraveling.
The audience here, much more important question. Meghan, there, is that a real baby bump, or has she strapped it on? Because
weird.
She's got form for strapping on baby bumps.
To her fans, she symbolized progress, a biracial American woman with a voice, a platform, and a refusal to be silenced by archaic tradition. To her critics, she was an outsider unwilling to play by the rules, too focused on celebrity and control, too quick to cast herself as a victim. But love her or loathe her, the public could at least agree on one thing: her journey, from actress to duchess, from newlywed to mother, was undeniably compelling. Until now. Because this accusation doesn't fall neatly into the categories of tabloid gossip or petty royal feud, Allegedly faking a pregnancy doesn't just challenge the image Meghan has cultivated, it threatens to upend it entirely. It's not a minor discrepancy over protocol, or a questionable business deal, or even a messy family rift. It's a claim that, if true, suggests an intentional, prolonged deception of the global public. That goes far beyond PR spin or selective storytelling. This would be a narrative built on illusion, something carefully staged, managed, and sold as truth. And yet, despite the gravity of the allegation, Meghan's defenders have responded with predictable urgency.
While we have now seen baby Archie bundled up and fast asleep, until now, there was a lot we didn't know about just how the seventh in line to the British throne came into this world.
They argue that this is simply the latest attempt to weaponize misogyny against a woman who dared to defy royal convention. To them, this is no different from the years of smear campaigns, attacks on her ambition, her wardrobe, her relationship with the press, her estrangement from family. They frame it as a cruel escalation of an old pattern. A powerful woman is accused, once again, of manipulation and deceit simply because she wouldn't conform. But here's where this moment diverges sharply from the past. This time, the story isn't being driven by faceless internet trolls or disreputable tabloids desperate for clicks. It's not a half-baked conspiracy floated in a podcast or a blurred photo dissected in comment sections. The claim, allegedly, comes from someone with direct involvement, an individual who says they interacted with Meghan or her team, who may possess proof in the form of digital correspondence, receipts, invoices, or even photographs.
Breaking news, Meghan Markle has finally, it seems, responded to those fake pregnancy rumours on her latest Instagram post right here. But guess what? She has failed badly.
If such evidence exists, it changes everything, because speculation can be dismissed. But documentation? That's what turns a rumor into a reckoning. And that's why this moment feels different. It's not just about whether Meghan is being unfairly targeted. It's about whether the people who once eagerly defended her now have to grapple with a possibility they never imagined, that the image they embraced may have been, in part, a mirage. The theory itself isn't entirely new. It has been simmering in the outer edges of the internet for years, dismissed as conspiracy or clickbait by the mainstream. In the shadowy forums of Reddit, obscure YouTube channels, and scattered Twitter threads, skeptics have long shared and reshared videos that, to them, suggested something wasn't quite right. Grainy footage from public engagements showed Meghan's baby bump seeming to shift in shape, fold oddly as she sat down, or bounce unnaturally as she walked. Some clips captured her squatting gracefully in high heels while heavily pregnant, an act many women who've carried a child found implausible. Other images highlighted how the size and position of her belly appeared to fluctuate noticeably from one appearance to another, even within days. At the time, these theories were mostly brushed off as the ramblings of obsessive critics with too much time and a vendetta. Royal commentators and mainstream outlets either ignored them or addressed them with derision, categorizing the claims as cruel, baseless, and rooted in misogyny. The idea that a duchess would fake a pregnancy seemed so outrageous, so scandalous, that it was easier to dismiss than to contemplate. And for a while, that strategy worked. The bump videos became digital urban legends, shared, laughed at, and then forgotten. But now, in the wake of a direct accusation from someone claiming firsthand involvement, those old clips are being pulled from the archives and studied with a very different energy. TikTok sleuths are zooming in, slowing down, and analyzing every wobble, every crease in a dress, every second of footage that once seemed inconsequential.
And I used to not like Meghan Markle, but now I'm a fan. I don't know. I think she's funny. I think every time she drops one of these archetype podcasts, she sounds very breathy and she sounds like an actress. And we know that rather than her talking about something awesome that happened in her life, because her life is pretty awesome, right? For a D-list actress, she's now married to a prince.
YouTube is once again flooded with "Did Meghan fake her pregnancy?" compilations, where old footage is spliced with new commentary, reframing what once looked innocuous as something far more suspicious. What once seemed like an internet oddity has gained traction, not just among conspiracy theorists, but among curious onlookers, many of whom had never questioned Meghan's story before. The tone has shifted from mocking disbelief to uncomfortable possibility. People aren't just asking if something was off, They're now asking why it was never taken seriously before. Suddenly, what was once background noise has become a growing chorus of doubt. And when that doubt intersects with visual evidence, no matter how subjective or inconclusive, it becomes harder to ignore. Because when enough people start looking back with new eyes, even old footage can take on a whole new meaning. And here's the bigger question, the one igniting fierce debates across comment sections, podcast panels, and primetime newsrooms alike. Why would Meghan Markle, a woman who built so much of her public identity around her role as a mother, ever fake a pregnancy? It's a question that cuts through the noise, straight to the heart of the unfolding storm. This isn't a celebrity caught in a wardrobe lie or a botched PR strategy. This is a woman who has, time and again, opened up about the rawest corners of her life. Motherhood, mental health, miscarriage, vulnerability under a global spotlight. She's sat on interview couches and looked straight into cameras, tearfully describing the difficulty of being a new mother inside the royal bubble, recounting the emotional weight of her miscarriage, and speaking of Archie's birth with reverence as one of the most transformative experiences of her life. Those moments weren't just filler in her public image. They were pillars of it. They were what made millions of people connect to her, believe her, root for her. So if this moon bump allegation carries even a sliver of truth, it doesn't just crack her narrative. It detonates it.
Now the trolls have gone into overdrive with their firm belief that non-mother Meg was never pregnant, and the childless Sussexes continue to subject the world to an extraordinary hoax.
It turns one of the most emotionally resonant arcs in her story, her journey to motherhood, into something that feels carefully curated, maybe even scripted. The idea that she could have orchestrated a false pregnancy, knowing how deeply the public invested in her as a symbol of modern maternal strength, shifts her from a figure of empathy to one of manipulation in the eyes of many. And that's why this question is so haunting. Because no one fakes something this consequential without a powerful reason. If it happened, it wasn't random. It wasn't a moment of vanity or a casual stunt. It would have been a calculated decision made with full awareness of the risks, of the backlash that would inevitably follow if the truth surfaced. So people are beginning to speculate about what kind of motive could possibly justify such a move. Was it a desire to protect her body, to avoid the physical toll of pregnancy while navigating life under an unforgiving royal microscope? Was it driven by ambition, preserving her appearance for a return to the Hollywood spotlight? Or was it about control, about managing every element of her public narrative with the precision of a seasoned media strategist? And perhaps most chilling of all, was it about image? About creating a flawless version of motherhood that was immune to the unpredictability of real life? For someone who has so expertly managed her own narrative, from a bombshell Oprah interview to multi-million-dollar media deals, the idea of controlling something as symbolic and scrutinized as a royal pregnancy might have been too tempting to resist. If that's the case, if appearance truly took precedence over authenticity, then the entire foundation of her post-palace brand begins to fracture. Because once you plant even a seed of doubt around something as sacred as motherhood, the rest of the story, no matter how beautifully told, starts to lose its power. Was it about protecting her body from the scrutiny of the royal microscope? Preserving her figure for a future return to Hollywood? Or was it about maintaining complete control over the most sacred aspect of public life, motherhood?
Which would show a level of spite and malice that is truly not only sick, but evil. And the alternative is that she didn't give birth to those children.
Meghan has always been hyper-aware of her image, curating interviews, Netflix specials, podcast episodes, and glossy covers to present a refined version of herself and her family. She and Harry left the palace to tell their own truth, but now that truth is starting to look shaky. Because if you're willing to fake a pregnancy, people start to wonder, what else was carefully manufactured? Then there's Prince Harry. Where does he fit in all of this? Could he really have been unaware? Or is that idea as implausible as the moon bump itself? Either possibility is damaging. If he knew and went along with it, he becomes a co-conspirator. If he didn't, it raises questions about his awareness, his judgment, and the strength of their bond. Was he so blinded by love and loyalty that he missed an elaborate deception unfolding beside him? These aren't just idle speculations. They're questions that ripple through marriages, families, and the public trust that Meghan and Harry have so carefully tried to cultivate since leaving royal life. And trust is the currency they now trade in. Without the palace behind them, all they have is their platform, their brand, their story. But that only works if people still believe in them. A fake pregnancy narrative, even without hard proof, erodes that trust faster than any headline. Because in the digital age, perception often precedes fact. People don't wait for evidence. They respond to doubt. And right now, doubt is everywhere. This isn't just another celebrity rumor. It's a narrative shift. One that's casting long shadows over everything Meghan and Harry have built post-palace. Meghan's polished image, the modern duchess, the royal rebel, the maternal icon, is being dissected in real time. Past interviews are being replayed with a more cynical lens. Her speeches about postpartum struggles, the tender moments she described with Archie, even the way she touched her belly during public appearances, everything is being reevaluated for authenticity. Is this fair? Maybe not. But this is what happens when people begin to suspect they've been emotionally misled.
In his newly obtained birth certificate, it shows Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor arrived May 6th, not at their new home Frogmore Cottage like many had expected, but rather at a London hospital.
Even though Meghan had let it be known she wanted a home birth, it was probably very realistic that her first child at 37, it was going to be born in hospital.
In the UK, the reaction has moved from confusion to outright betrayal. For many royal loyalists, this feels like the final straw. They were willing to stomach the Oprah interview, the Netflix special, the criticism of the crown. But this allegedly faking a royal pregnancy feels like a violation of something sacred. The monarchy, for all its flaws, is built on traditions and symbolic gestures. Meghan was initially embraced as a sign of progress, diversity, and modernity. But now it feels to many like they were played. Like she entered the institution with her exit strategy already in motion. And again, this isn't just about Meghan. Harry's credibility is now tethered to the same story. If he was complicit, the public sees a man who helped construct a royal lie. If he was in the dark, they question how a prince could miss such a high-stakes performance happening at arm's length. Neither answer restores trust. It only deepens skepticism. The emotional response, particularly from mothers, is raw. It's not about judging Meghan's bodily autonomy. It's about what she allegedly chose to represent, the role she played, the emotional weight she borrowed. Many women who have experienced the physical and emotional roller coaster of pregnancy feel used. Their journey, their truth, reduced to a prop in someone else's brand narrative. And that brand, Meghan and Harry's multi-million-dollar storytelling empire, is at risk of collapsing under the weight of this allegation. Their production company, their memoirs, their podcast, all of it depends on a public willing to believe in their version of events. But that belief is slipping. Even if they weather the storm, the way people listen to them has changed. The once sympathetic ear has become cautious, skeptical, guarded. What happens next depends on what the shopkeeper reveals. If there are emails, invoices, photos, proof, the story doesn't just trend, it detonates. But even in the absence of evidence, the damage is already done. Because reputations aren't always destroyed by truth, they're often destroyed by doubt. And Meghan's carefully constructed image is unraveling fast. Maybe she'll issue a statement. Maybe she won't. But for now, the silence is deafening. And in that silence, the public is writing the story without her. That's the real danger. When you go quiet, others speak louder. They shape the headlines, the hashtags, the dinner table conversations. The modern Duchess image is cracking. And what's beneath it? That's what everyone is watching now.